Hello everyone, welcome to this video, and in this video I'm going to show you how to properly edit a Zoom call. I got sent a Zoom call the other day that someone had edited and they'd asked me to tidy some things up. The trick is to get the Zoom call set up as well as possible straight away, and in this case it hadn't been set up and there was a load of cascading problems that happened. So in this video we're going to re-encode all of the footage. That's an optional step, but I do like to do that first with Zoom calls. And then we're going to create a sequence with the full call and all the audio streams. And then we're going to make 4 sequences, because there's 4 people in this Zoom call, from each camera, effectively splitting the single video into 4 separate camera feeds. We're going to color correct them. We're going to recombine those to make a multicam sequence from the 4 individual sequences, plus a combined shot of all 4 people together, and then we're going to edit it in the multicam, and I'll show you how all of that's done. So let's get on with it. Okay, I've got a folder here with a Zoom call that was from 2020 Rendezvous. We did this back in February of 2021, and this was part of the 2020 Rendezvous mini-series that I co-wrote and directed with some friends of mine. Check that out on the Space Potatoes channel. So if you got your Zoom settings correct, let me call up my Zoom settings, you will have ticked in recording to record a separate audio file for each participant, which gives you this folder called audio record, which basically has all the 4 individual people in the call, and that gives you their separate audio stream. So whereas the video has all the audio streams mixed together and you can't turn someone up or change the EQ of their voice or anything like that. So the first thing I want to do is re-encode all of this, because the original file was an MP4 and it's only 720. If we right click, go to properties and we go to the details, you can see it's 1280 by 720. So I really want to upscale that to 1080. And I want to change all of the files in here to be 48K WAV files. So let's just re-encode them. This is optional, but it will speed up your editing later on. So if you're on a slow computer, I would recommend doing this. Okay, so the 4 audio files there, I'm going to change to be WAV files, so waveform audio. And I want them to be 48K. They're all mono. And 16-bit is fine because the source audio is not it's not that great, but you can see it's 32K, which means there's going to be loads and loads of resampling going on under the hood, which will take up a lot of processing power. So that's going to be the settings for that one there. And the Zoom call here, I want to change to the DNX HR, DNX HD, MXF. I'll just go for that. And I don't want to go for that. I want to go for a 1080, 1080p 25 setting. MP4s aren't that great to edit from, so that's why I like to use the Avid codec, re-encode stuff to that, and it makes it a lot better to edit from. And also I'm upscaling it to 1920 by 1080. I'm also going to tick the box that says use maximum render quality, because that will help with the scaling. I just noticed that I hadn't actually done that for all the audio files. I'd only done it for the last one, so I've just set that right. Here we go. Might have a game of chess while I'm waiting for this to happen. Okay, so they've now encoded. They should be sitting there in that folder. Which they are. We've got this MXF file here, and in the audio record folder we've also got a load of WAV files. So let's drag all of that in. I'll start with the WAV files and then the Zoom call MXF file. So let's create a new sequence. I'm just going to drag this over a bit. Usually I use 2 monitors, but for the purpose of this video I'm on 1, so the layout's a bit weird. Let me create a new sequence, and I'm going to go for a 1080p 25, and I'm going to call this Zoom call raw. I'm going to have a capital raw at the end of that. So I'm going to drag in this Zoom call here, which you can see has come up. What am I doing here?
Oh,
there we go. So there's a bit of the Zoom call there. And then I'm going to drag in the audio files one at a time. So I'm going to start with Trevor's one because he's top left. And then then it's me. So there are our 4 audio channels. So now I can unlink, right click and unlink the video from the original audio. I'm going to delete that original audio and move all of these up. So now we have the video separate with 4 separate audio streams for each of us, which is all in one sequence.
well, I think they did speak to me. Couldn't understand because they're all
ever in his life.
Oh no! And at the time, he was all mank. He was all.
So don't know what we were talking about there, but you can see, you know, if you want to delete, like there's a little bit of a crackle here. You know, we could come in here and trim that out. So if someone's talking over someone else, if there's 2 people talking at once, you can, you know, you can decide who you want to hear and all of that. But we're not going to get into that now. This is more about the video side of it. So the last thing I'm going to do before we dive into splitting all of this up is I'm going to right click on the sequence here in the project view. And I'm going to go to the sequence settings and I'm going to click this that says maximum bit depth. And that just basically gives you more scope when you're recoloring things. And because all of the sequences are going to be a derivative of this sequence, hopefully those settings will carry over. I'm going to right click now and go new sequence from clip. So you can see my new sequence comes up and it's the audio and the video from this sequence here. But now it's all embedded. It's exactly the same as before, but it's all embedded. There's not 4 separate audio files. So I'm going to rename this this new sequence. Hopefully it's the right one. I'm going to rename this to Trevor Raw because this is just going to be Trevor. So you can see here, this is just going to be Trevor. I'm going to zoom this to 200% and I'm going to position it 1920, 1080. This is in the effect controls panel. So we've just got Trevor now. And then I'm going to duplicate that Trevor Raw. And I'm going to call this one Dave Raw. And this one here, instead of being Trevor, I need to move it across this way. And that will be at 0. And that will just be my raw shot. And then we're going to do the same again, speed this bit up, so now you can see we've got 4 sequences. We've got Trevor, we've got me, we've got Ricky, and we've got Chris, and that's all in 4 separate sequences. So they're now like we've got 4 different video files. 4 different video files of each of us as if we filmed it on our own cameras. So now we can make a multicam sequence from those shots. So if I go to here and I create a new sequence, again I'm going to go to the settings on that and click maximum bit depth, and I'm going to call this multicam, zoom call multicam. And now I can drag in, for example, Trevor, and go in there, Chris, me, doesn't matter what the order is, and Ricky. And you can see we've got all of those. We don't need the audio from this, where we can just have one. So I'm going to right click and unlink and basically delete the other 3 audios. And now we have the audio track, which is carried over from the Zoom call Raw. And we have the 4 video files, all stacked on top of each other. And now I'm going to duplicate them by selecting them all, hold down Alt, and drag up from the bottom one so that I've got a total copy. And I'm going to select those top 4 video files, and we're going to nest them. So that's going to make a new sequence of all of those. So I'm going to say zoom call combined raw. The reason I write raw at the end is it means that it's not had anything cut out of it. It's literally, the timing is exactly as it is on the raw video. And that's important if you want to resync another audio file later on or something like that. So this one here is basically a copy of that. It's got all 4 in. I'm going to move them down to the bottom level. And now we can make them all 50% and put ourselves back on the screen. I'll just copy that to all of the other 3, so they're all 50%. And now we can move Ricky over to here, so 480. And then that'll be 270. So now we have that there. That is a shot, a single video layer of all 4 of us combined in a shot. Now you can put us in, you can put the people in any order that you want to have, which is nice. So if we want to do a color correction now, so let's say we look at that and we want to color correct. I'm looking a little bit washed out and Trevor looks a bit blurry and washed out. We can go to those original raw video sequences, and we can call up the Lumetri panel. So I can say window open Lumetri color, which will appear on the right here. I'll drag that out so we can see. And let's white balance Trevor. So I'm assuming that his wall behind him here is somewhat white. So I'll click on the white balance there. Try and find a bit that looks grey, white, that's not affected by his coloured lights. There we go. It's done a little bit of colour correction. Let's see if there's somewhere else. Let's reset that and yeah, okay, that looks a little bit better. Might push the contrast a touch. Okay, doesn't matter. This is just a demo. So we can now see on the multicam, there's the 4 of us, color corrected a bit, and then we've got the individual layers underneath. So finally, let's shut all of this stuff. Don't need any of this. We can create our final sequence. So we can right click here on this where it says zoom call multicam. We can say new sequence from clip. And I can rename this to zoom call edit. There we go. And that's now called zoom call edit. And if we unlink them again and then right click this video layer, which is a sequence, and we say enable multicam, you can now see Trevor's face appeared because he is track 1. But if we double click on that, you can see we can now select any of us or the combination shot. So we could say have the combination shot.
Who's that?
So if your computer's powerful enough, you can also toggle to the multi-camera view here. And as you're playing it, you can select what angles you want. So we could play it. I'm just going to mute the audio for now. Click on Chris. Click on Ricky. Go to me, I'm talking. Go back to the full shot of all 4. Go back to Chris looking bored. And you can see it's put all of those cuts in the video for us. The only reason I muted the audio is because I was talking and I didn't want it to confuse with what I was saying. But obviously you would edit with the audio on so that you can hear what's being said. But you can see now that just becomes really editable because you're just editing like you've got lots of different feeds. Now, let's say you wanted a different shot with just 2 people. You could go back to the multicam, which I've misspelt. It's multicam, not multicam. We can go back to the multicam here, and we could duplicate this. So we could go to this zoom call combined raw. We could duplicate that there, and zoom call, let's say, just call this Dave and Ricky. And then we could drag that to above there, get rid of this audio. We don't need that. And although this is all 4 of us, we could delete Chris out of this one, delete Trevor out of that one, and then bring both of us down a little bit. So 540, and me also at 540. So now we've got another layer. So if we go to our edit now, we can also say, oh, well, at this point, I want a shot of Dave and Ricky. Go to there, and there's a shot of the 2 of us. So if you want to build a new combination shot, you can add it to the multicam, and then later on in the edit, let's say you get sort of this far into the edit or something, and you want to use it again.
From Salford, got himself a book deal.
Salford? Ricky, it's Salford. You know it's Salford. It's like the condiment. What do you put on your chips?
Salt.
Lovely.
So that was a bit that we didn't actually use there. So you can see then you've got a very, very tidy workspace when you're editing. If you want to chop a bit out, you could, you know, just remove a bit there. You can go to the ripple edit tool here and just say you want to cut from there to there, and then we'll select that in the audio and just trim that out. But if you then want to go back and, let's say, change the audio somehow, you can go to that original zoom call raw sequence, which has all the audio files. And if you need to, let's say, process Trevor or someone at home had recorded their audio on a separate recording device, and they sent you the audio, and you just want to drop in their audio because it was better quality, you can go back to this raw sequence and drop it in there, because there's no editing at all in this. And then there's no editing in the multicam either, and there's no editing in any of these color correction nests. And then when we're doing the edit, it's just this is the only place where anything's cut, so it's really easy to just sync up other sources straight away with that original zoom call. I need to go and take my shepherd's pie out the oven. I'll be back in 1 minute. That was nice. So I've made this overlay here in Photoshop, which we can drag into Premiere. I'm just going to drag it in from the Windows Explorer, if I can find the file. There it is. Zoom overlay 1. Just drag that in, and here it's saying I'm not going to merge all the layers. Maybe I should merge all the layers. Yes, I will. So now I'm going to put that here on a video track that's higher up, and you can see it puts this little surround around Chris. This is if you wanted to do something like this. You don't obviously have to, but it's just sort of thing that some people like to do. So I'm going to put that on all of us. That sort of that graphics all around us. Now, I personally don't think that looks very nice at all, but just give you an idea of the sort of thing you could do if you wanted to, by putting some sort of overlay over each person. You could, you know, put name labels and stuff like that, but you can actually go back to the original place and do that. So for example, I could put a bit of text. If I take it out multicam, I put a bit of text and write Chris on there. And I need to stretch it out so it covers a third track there. And if we go back to the edit, you can see Chris has his name in there. So having it all nested like that in all different sequences means that you can go and make an edit in one place, like, you know, overlaying a name or something like that. And it will recursively work throughout your whole project. So you're not going to multiple clips, because what I see most people do is just dragging in a Zoom call and then doing all of this stuff where they're repositioning stuff on every single shot, and then they're copying and pasting motion settings, the position and scale settings from one clip to another, and it's just a nightmare. You know, maybe if it's a 2-minute Zoom call, it's quicker to do that, but if you've got a Zoom call that's even, you know, more than a couple of minutes, it's worthwhile. I'd say even for 2 minutes, it's worthwhile. Once you get quick at it, you can just go through and set it up properly, and then you never need worry. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, please share, and check out one of my other videos. Cheers.